Hi guys, thank you all for the opportunity to be here. Rajiv, thanks for bringing up the fact that there is more to retina than just the macula. We're going to talk about retinal detachments too, and a different way of doing it, recognizing that the current standard of care for retinal detachment repair has a lot of limitations. So the inspiration for this was when Tommy and I were, my co-founder and I were residents at Mass Eye and Ear, and we saw a whole waiting room filled with people like this. And, you know, the attendings didn't seem to mind because this is just the way it's been for 25 years. But to us, as naive residents, this looked ridiculous. And we said there has to be a better way to do the surgery to eliminate the postoperative burden placed on patients. So just to remind everyone, we all know what a retina is. Retinal detachment, you just saw what that looks like in Rajiv's videos. And then the standard way of repairing it, not Rajiv's way, the standard way is vitrectomy and injection of gas bubble. You can do a pneumatic, of course, still an injection of gas bubble and patient positioning and associated complications related to that gas bubble. 125,000 RD surgeries performed annually in the US. So it is a smaller market than GA, but it's still a lot of people. And when patients get the standard of care for retinal detachment repair, they can't see, they're face down. That persists for months. I mean, a bubble moving around in there, you turn your head one way, the bubble moves the other way. A lot of people don't go back to work for a while, months. You can't fly in an airplane. You can't get an OCT through gas, at least a good one. And then to Rajiv's point, the final vision in a lot of these people is not great. And we do think that that is possibly because that face down positioning in that gas bubble smashed the macula back down right away. And the photoreceptors do not align properly. And using a different technique, you might be able to have the retina reattach more slowly and end up with better final visual outcome in some patients. Of course, a lot of patients aren't compliant. They don't position. That's a key component of surgical failure. And a lot of patients get a cataract after surgery because the gas bubble is physically contacting the lens, which causes cataract progression in almost everyone. So our technique is a little bit different than what was just described. In this case, you do the vitrectomy, you do the retina surgery in the normal way, you go to air, you laser around the tear, but now you stop. You don't inject the gas bubble. You're now going to take a curved cannula and inject a focal retinal sealant on the inside of the eye over that tear. And if you look at a cross-section of it, this is the sealant creating that temporary barrier around the tear while you wait for the laser to form the permanent seal. So this is a way of creating that transient seal without needing a gas or an oil bubble. And so patients with this approach can see right after surgery. They don't have to position at all. You don't have patient compliance as a factor in surgical success. They obviously don't have this persistent bubble for weeks to months. They can return to work. They can fly in an airplane. You can image the retina with OCT. And then potentially, and really excitingly, maybe you have the potential for final, at the end of the day, better visual recovery because you're not smashing the macula down with the gas bubble and the face down. Since you're also covering the RPE, you're sealing that tear up from the inside, there's a reasonable case to be made that you might decrease the risk of PVR formation because RPE cells no longer have access to the vitreous cavity. They're not going to pool at the bottom in the aqueous layer under the bubble. And then nothing's contacting the lens or the cataract, so it should decrease cataract progression as well. So this is the interim results of an 11-patient pilot study that we conducted in Australia. 3 sites, 3 surgeons. Outcome measures were retinal attachment rate, visual acuity, and safety. We have 8 weeks follow-up on all subjects, and the last patient last visit is next month. Single surgery attachment rate, so it does work to treat retinal detachments. That's important. The FDA target rate that was specified in the Unipure approval recently was 72%, and in the intent to treat population, you can see we hit 73%. And if we adjust for 2 times where the surgeon didn't perform the procedure in an ideal manner, which is something we, of course, are learning as we move through this into early stage, our per protocol success rate is 91%. Patients see well right after surgery. So you can see the red line here is demonstrating the average patient with a gas bubble in the eye, legally blind through a month, and then recovering after that. And you can see here, patients in this trial seeing well, actually seeing very well on average, just a couple of weeks after surgery, and a favorable safety profile with no device-related safety concerns. So in conclusion, a different technique is required. The standard of care for retinal detachment repair has been the same way for like 40 years. It is time to do it in a better way for patients. It's a large market opportunity. As I said, 125,000 retinal detachments in the US. There's another 90,000 macular hole surgeries, which use a gas bubble and positioning as well. Pykus Therapeutics has a strong IP position with wholly owned IP through 2044. And the registrational trial in the US will begin in 2026, pending regulatory approval. Thank you.
Congratulations to you and Tommy. You've been working on this for a while. Do you leave fluid in the detachment? So you need to desiccate where the tear is, and then you leave fluid and allow settling.
You can return to fluid if you want. So you're doing it under air. And then, you got to make the retina dry and let your laser to get good takes, and you apply the gel. And then you can return to fluid if you wanted to, or you could just leave them with regular air.
Congratulations. Fantastic.
Thank you.
What are you looking for now?
So we're currently going to raise a Series B, which will fund the company through the pivotal trial in the U.S. And so we're beginning those processes through the summer as we initiate conversations with the FDA.
Okay. This is a place to do that.
Great.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.